Hello, welcome to the Mayhem Lab. Today I wanted to show you an Arduino project I've been working on. Okay, so today I wanted to show you an Arduino project that I had built really just to kind of make my life a little bit easier. I showed it to a couple of friends. They thought it was pretty cool, so I thought I'd make a quick video about it. Maybe it helps somebody else or inspires you to kind of spin off on this idea. Basically, with my new work at home setup I've got my work computer, my monitors all set up on my desk, but then I have my secondary computer, which is my personal computer where I stream some music throughout the day. Got a KVM system set up so I can move back and forth between two systems without needing to have multiple keyboards and mice on my desk. The problem that I ran into, admittedly a silly one, but the problem I ran into is when I got a phone call from a customer or from a colleague, whoever, I need to pause my music so I can answer the phone. And I was finding it somewhat inconvenient to switch over into the other machine quick enough to sort of kind of mute the music so I could answer the phone in time, because you only get so many rings, right? So what I decided to come up with is a very small keyboard that would give me access to the basic controls that I needed to work with the music inside the computer. So it's a Windows-based computer, nothing too magical, just using YouTube's music service. So I just needed a couple of buttons. I thought while I was doing it, make volume up, volume down, next track, previous track, and then stop, pause, / play. So what I came up with is a little board, or at least the first prototype is, let me pop this up here. So what I've got is a little proto board. Basically, it's 5 buttons that are soldered onto the board. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture of the bottom, but we'll see it's the exact same board in here. And all I did is I really just hooked them up to an Arduino micro and plugged it into the computer. Really the goal was, and I've worked on this before, is you use the Arduino as a keyboard, right? So there's a keyboard library, pretty straightforward. This is not new by any stretch of the imagination. But I just kind of sort of crudely taped it to my desk to play with it for a week or so, and I really enjoyed it. It worked really well. The functionality was kind of basically exactly what I wanted, just to click a button and stop the music, or adjust the volume, etc., without needing to do the whole KVM switch thing. So yeah, that actually worked pretty well. So then what I came up with is, like I said, the buttons. We've got the buttons here. This is obviously the finished version, and then we've got an Arduino mini, or what do I got here? Micro. The Arduino micro. Here's the board. Basically all I've got is 5 wires, 1 to each button, and then it was 6th wire for ground, so it grounds them all out. That's it. There's really nothing magical about this little black box. So I wanted to walk you through. If you're not familiar with this kind of stuff, this is a great, I think, maybe a beginner project. Very simple buttons and some wires, and an Arduino. You can make this yourself, so it's not hard. So let me flip back over here, and I wanted to show you the code. Again, nothing magical. The only library I'm using is that keyboard library. And then what I'm doing is setting up some buttons. So you define which buttons you want to use. In this case, I just named them up, down, previous, pause, and skip. Of course, now looking back at it, I probably should have said next, not skip, but whatever. In the startup routine inside of Arduino, you just set up and define your buttons. In this case, I'm initially pulling them all up. I'm pulling them up because I have them grounded here. So when I click the button, it's going to ground out. And that's the trigger that it's actually been clicked. So it's always at a high state, and then when I push the button, it's at a low state. And then I've got the loop function is basically just checking, or it's going to go into a function, button press, and then it's going to delay 10 milliseconds, waits for another button press. Pretty simple. The button press routine, again, I'm starting the keyboard. I'm checking to see if a button was pressed. So was button volume up pressed, and that corresponds to pin 3. And if we look at the Arduino, that wire is on pin 3 of the Arduino, right? So that's how it knows. If that button is pressed, then send this key sequence, right? So we'll talk about this key sequence, why I picked it, but we've got the keyboard press. It's going to do a left control key, and then it's going to do an F9 key. It's going to wait 100 milliseconds, and then it's going to release the keys, right? And then that's it. And then it goes back into the loop, and it waits another 10 milliseconds and looks to see if you've pressed the key. So you can actually hold down the volume up and volume down key, and it will raise the volume and lower the volume. Side effect of that, which is actually something I need to fix, I can hold down the pause button and it'll pause and unpause, pause and unpause the track. So I think I need to add more of a delay in there on that one. But anyway, yeah, so this is just all the functions. You know, if this button is pressed, send this key sequence. You'll notice they all are the control key and then an F key. So I just went from 8, 9, these are not in order apparently, 10, 11, and 12, right? And then release the keys, and then end the keyboard function. So it gets out of the function, goes back into the main loop, waits for another key press. Probably the simplest Arduino program I've written in a very long time. I'll also post this up on GitHub, so if you want to take a look at it, you certainly can. Nothing too crazy here. So what we did, or how does this work? So we plug it in, and it's basically a little keyboard, right? So now I'm sending control keys F8, control F9, whatever. How do we make that function for us? So what I found is I wanted to pick, well, first off, I wanted to pick a key sequence that wouldn't affect any other functionality on the system. So I wanted something like, you know, control F8 isn't necessarily a sequence that's pre-programmed in, right? So I can push, you know, F8 or F11 or whatever, but that the F keys mean something to Windows. So when I push it, I get a natural reaction. So I needed to come up with a key sequence that was not natural, that wouldn't mean anything to Windows. So basically what I'm doing is I'm using this AutoHotkey piece of software that I found. It's free, seems to be working fairly well. I didn't really do a deep dive on, you know, how good this software is, if there's other alternatives. So if somebody knows of something different that you've automated in Windows, I would love to hear it in the comments. Tell me what you guys use. But this seems to be working fairly well. So I installed it. Literally, it's 2 clicks. You know, you download it, you click go, and then you click install, and that's it. And then you make a script file. So actually, let me start over here. Steal this. We'll delete it. And then just make a text file. Name it whatever you want. Just have a control. This is just a TXT file. You put in whatever it is that you want. In this case, we'll see that I've got caret F8, caret F9, etc. Caret key is the symbol for control. So this is my control F8, control F9, and so on. And then I've got 2 colons, and then I tell the system what I want it to do. So when you see control F8, I want you to push the volume down button, all right? And so on. So someone might be asking, how do I know, where do I get this volume up, volume down from? Did I make it up? No, I did not. What you can do is, after you install AutoHotkey, go ahead and find it, click on it, and this is basically like the dictionary, if you will, of all of the key sequences that are possible. So what I did, I Googled a little bit, so I kind of already know where I'm going, but I just searched for media, and I found that if you list out the keys, you can see what it is capable of doing. So in this case, I got them right here: volume down, volume up. So this is the phrase, the keyword that you want to put in there. So this is what happens when this keyword is triggered, and it's triggered through this particular button press. So control F8, gonna trigger volume down, and volume down is going to lower the volume. Make sense? So Save that. Of course, now we don't want it to be a text file. We do need it to be a special file format. So I'll go ahead and save as. And I'm going to save it to my PC, and it is AutoHotkey, A-H-K, AutoHotkey. So we'll save that. And there it is, it's right there. So then as I click on it, it tells me it's already running because I already had it running before I started. And now if I push the buttons, it'll work, but it helps to plug it in first. So let's plug it in. It sees it as a keyboard, just doing micro USB. And now when I push volume up, volume down, I get my volume up and volume down. So pretty easy, pretty simple. It's nothing really magical. I just thought it was a kind of a handy tool. So if you're looking for something to maybe automate your life, you know, little something that's nice and quick and dirty. I also didn't just drew up this little plastic shell here and 3D printed it. I'll throw this out on Thingiverse, and I'll put a link in the description so you can check it out as well. Again, nothing special. I really just wanted some kind of shell that would be stable on my desk, so I kind of came up with this sort of triangular home looking design. And on the back it's got the, actually let me, that's probably easier. So on the back I've got the indicators to tell me which each button does. Yeah, so nothing super fancy, pretty quick and dirty, pretty easy to do. I think a really fun beginner project. Obviously you can make your buttons do whatever you want. Play around with the AutoHotkey software, see what you can make it do. And if you've got any suggestions, let me know. I've also thought about making something like this for when I'm doing my recording through OBS. I've seen some other YouTubers have sort of a panel where they can switch back and forth between their cameras, and I assume they're doing something similar to this. Again, it's not new, it's not rocket science, but I thought it was a fun little project. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think, and if you got other ideas on what to do with some fun Arduinos, leave a comment below, and I'll see if I can get to them. Thanks for stopping in, and I will see you next time. Kevin, what you doing?
Clicking.
We're supposed to be making videos, you know that?
Clicking. It's so satisfying. Do you hear that clicking?
I mean, it's fun. But don't you want to make more videos?
No, I want to click.
Okay.
You know what? People could click like.
They could. And then subscribe.
And then subscribe and comment on the videos.
Yes.
Do that while I click.
Click.